Welcome everyone to today's session on how we can work through work-related stress. So, as you know, because of the kind of lifestyles we have, and because especially after COVID, I think it's been quite a difficult situation for people adapting to a stressful environment in work, in your life also potentially. If that rings true for you, if you do find yourself feeling burned out or struggling with staying in a positive state of mind, well, then this session is perfect for you. We have with us today Professor Gohar Ahmed Sharif, who is a highly qualified and sought after psychologist. He has a number of fancy certifications in life coaching, NLP, hypnosis, which I want to know a lot more about, relationship coaching. He's been doing this for over 20 years, guys. So there's so much to learn from Gohar Sharif today. And he offers a number of different services. So if you're looking for help with emotional healing, anger, stress, depression, eating, drinking, phobias, anything of the sort, Gohar is in Lahore. He also moves frequently between cities. So be sure to get in touch after the session and see if you can slot yourself in somewhere. So on that note, I am going to hand it over to Gohar Saab. Sir, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all of you, those of you who have joined in and those of who will be joining in later, reviewing it later. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning. This is Gohar Sharif. मेरा नाम गौहर शरीफ है and I'm a master life coach, master NLP coach, master hypnotist and relationship coach. I have been doing business coaching, life coaching for almost 20 years, as just Numair mentioned. We'll go through the presentation and we'll talk about my life achievements and my project progress, my career progress, and the stresses I went through and whatever I have gone through while doing these mega projects all over the world. I have worked in Europe, I have worked in America and Canada and Middle East, and I have been doing many things at one time. So the mind is just what you put used to. Our human mind is so capable, so powerful, yet so innocent. Our mind is a very powerful machine, but at the same time, our mind cannot differentiate between reality and perceived reality, right? So please feel free to ask questions, but once I'm done with the presentation, which will take about an hour or so, so I'll take questions at the end of this presentation. Please take down your notes and we'll be discussing it in detail. Today, I'll be talking about cabin fever. I'll be talking about echo chamber. These were the two definitions which came across and mostly talked about phenomena during the COVID times. And people went through a lot of stress. We'll talk about how and what happens when one goes through the stress. What are the symptoms of the stress when you can see for yourself when you are going through it, or any of your colleague is struggling with stress. So we'll start today's presentation from the slide number 1, and which is myths versus facts. Normally, people have different concepts, some misconceptions, some are true, some are false, but even the false information becomes a real information. The fake news become real news over a period of time if you keep on persisting with the same information over and over again. The human mind accepts it as a reality. We'll talk about it, how the information is stored in a human mind in a while, but just think of a computer exactly the same manner. All the information is auto-saved with the same emotions. When we are born to 7 years of age, 0 to 7 years of age is the most important period of our lives. And this is called the imprint age. During this period, whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we are told, whatever we experience, we go through becomes our reality. That is why this is called the imprint age. Even before we are born, when we are in our mother's womb, 6 weeks into the pregnancy, the heart starts pumping the blood to the brain. All the emotional condition, the physical condition, and any other stress the mother is going through is transmitted to the baby in the womb, which is not even formed at that moment, and it is in the formation stage. So our memories and our traumas are deep-rooted, and these are the reasons of the stress. Sometimes we see just the tip of the iceberg, and sometimes we see superficially, and we see the behavior of a person. Behavior of a person is not the root cause. Root cause is much deep down, deep-rooted. So stress is when you are stressed out and people can see it and they get affected. But what about if you are not showing any symptoms? Are you not stressed out? Yes, you are stressed out. Some people are good at hiding it. Some people are good at overcoming it. Some people are resilient. And I teach people, I teach the project teams, I teach the sportsmen, athletes, and some of the known and very famous people in Pakistan how to become stress resilient. I have been into the corporate world teaching people, synergizing the project teams and gelling them together for peak performance. So if one person, even one person in the team is suffering from stress, he or she is going to affect his or her colleagues as well. People normally think that major symptoms of the stress or major stress are harmful. The minor ones, if they keep on persisting, it becomes a problem. And when the stress becomes chronic, in 70% of the cases, it leads to depression. Now, people in Pakistan, mostly what I have come across, they confuse sadness from depression. These are two different things. Clinical depression, when diagnosed by a certified psychiatrist or a psychologist or a life coach, is something we should be very, very concerned about, and we should take it very, very seriously. So far, so good. Numair, can you hear me clearly? Is there any issue with it?
It's perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. Next slide, please. What is stress? Everyone who goes through some kind of routine, some kind of timeline, some kind of commitment, anything which is related to resources, time, management, or even a negotiation or something you come across and you weren't expecting it, unexpected circumstances, events, chain of events, even small issue while driving to the office or back home can be a stressful experience depending upon the nature of that particular one. I don't want to go into further details on this one. Let's move to the next one. What are the signs of stress? These are the signs which you can see and observe in yourself while you are experiencing it, you are growing through it, or in your colleagues. From frequent headaches to body aches to dryness of mouth to upset stomachs, diarrheas, constipation, to whatever those social isolation issues or anger management issues, these are all signs of stress. Later during the presentation, we'll go through the stress test. We will carry out that, and see for ourselves how stressed we are. The normal way or the easy way to come over it and to get relief out of the situation is number one, the sleep. Normally, the people who come to me and ask for my advice in this context for stress relief, they are having a very bad lifestyle. They are getting up at 11 or 12 in the morning and going to sleep like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. This is not the prescribed way to a healthy life. If you go to sleep early, you will have the secretion of melatonins. The brain will secrete those hormones, and your body will accordingly prepare you for a good night's sleep. But if you turn on the television or you start web surfing at that point in time, or you just do the WhatsApp messages, the mind becomes alert and it becomes excited as the conversation goes on, and we become more and more alert as the time goes on, rather than going into a sleep mode and dimming the lights and just preparing yourself for sleep. We go into super excited mode. The other ways is healthy diet, physical activity, relaxation therapies, and so many others. These are the ways how you can stress relieve yourself. We'll go into further details in the upcoming slides. Next one, please. Okay, these are some of the ways like yoga, aromatherapy, walk in the park, dine out. But these are mood elevation techniques, not really the stress release therapies. These are feel good therapy, you can say feel good situation, which will last from an hour to a couple of hours. Chronic stress leads to depression, and it can be from personal to relationship or vice versa. And work performance, productivity issues lead to further compound it. It has been clearly observed during the studies, latest surveys, that $1 trillion is the loss per year in USA alone due to loss of productivity, either because of stress or unhappy employees. Why people are unhappy? Because of their performance. Again, performance is related to productivity, and the reasons behind it are normally stress related. Next one, please. But the real cause of stress is, in the root cause, is repressed memories. Repressed memories are the memories you are carrying as an emotional baggage, as an extra luggage throughout your life, unless you meet someone who takes you through the process, which is called the timeline therapy, and you go back to the same old you, 3-4 years old, and you go and you see for yourself what went wrong. 5 major negative emotions is anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. These are the 5 negative emotions we remove from every person during our very first session, and we help them preserve the learnings only, the positive learnings. What went wrong? What should have been done? What is the right way if you come across same kind of feelings in future? So this is the way we do it as life coaches. PTSD is basically post-traumatic stress disorder, which comes out of a trauma situation, whether it's a man-made violence, a murder, abuse, physical, torture, domestic violence, or something related to man-made disasters, or a natural calamity like a flood, earthquake, or anything which is not beyond man's control, an act of God, is categorized into natural calamity. Then is the prenatal and postpartum depression. And this is something which is not people are aware of. Most of the men, for sure, I wasn't aware of it. Even when I had my family, kids were growing up, even I was not aware of all these terminologies. When I was not aware of the terminology, I was surely not aware of what effects it has on the mother's well-being and the child's well-being. So we are not sure about it, we are not aware of it, and we don't take actions about it. Postpartum depression, which is after the birth of the baby, is the most sensitive and most dangerous one because it leads to suicidal thoughts, and sometimes it leads to even killing the baby itself. Can you imagine a mother murdering a newborn child within weeks of delivery? It happens. It happens, and I have seen it. I have seen women committing suicides during their initial months after the giving childbirth. I have seen people going through very, very rough times because the men, the family members are not aware of it, and they think that the lady is putting an act or ये ड्रामे कर रही है, ये ड्रामे कर रही है, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं होती. कोई बात नहीं होती is a statement we normally give when we are not aware of it. We are not aware of it as an information, as a definition, as a syndrome, as something maybe very, very serious. Since we haven't come across, we haven't heard it, we think it does not really happens. And people either are unaware of it or they are in a state of denial. We'll go into further details and we'll see how it affects our mental health and well-being. People go into self-sabotage, people commit suicides, and people go into drug abuse. Next one, please. Normally, when you are working on projects, the bigger the project, the bigger the rewards, but bigger the stress. Big projects are for vanity, and medium-sized or small-sized projects are for sanity. When I say big projects and medium-sized projects, it varies for business to business and person to person and the project team to project team. I have been associated with projects over $1 billion, B for billion, medium-sized projects, $500 million, and small-sized projects, $100 million plus minus. So this is how I categorize. The definition can vary from person to person, from project team to project team, and type of business you are in. Since I was into oil and gas, petrochemicals, and power plants, and I was working in Middle East and North America and Canada and other places, I have been blessed, alhamdulillah, with the opportunity to manage projects as a project manager, project director, head of operations, vice president. In many capacities, I help people and the project teams to overcome the stressful environment of the project delivery according to the project specifications and the timelines and within budget. So these are the things which cause stress. Okay. When it happens, when it triggers stress, blame game is the first thing, then the burnouts. And then the stress cycle is evident, which is caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, and substance abuse. These are the things we come across, and most of the time we are going through this. I think there are people who are joining in and some are texting. Nomer, I think we'll take the questions later on once I'm done with the presentation. Is that okay? Is that what we agreed on, right?
Absolutely. And I will repeat this to the attendees. Continue to share your questions in the QA session, and we'll be taking them at the end of the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Nomer. Next slide, please. Okay, these are some of the pictures from my previous projects. I will go through quickly because I want to focus on the main subject, but just want to give you an idea how I went through the first picture. Can you go back to the first one? I'll just take 1 minute. The first one, yeah. This is Atak Refinery, Rawalpindi in Pakistan, way back in 1999. $60 million project. The first project I was the project coordinator. And in this picture, I'm sitting on the ground in blue overall. Next one, please. Next slide. This is for Petronas Charigali, the Fortune 500 company of Malaysia. The project was in Sindh near Ghotki, and it's a gas treatment plant. Next one, please. The same one, the next one, please. This is in Egypt. Next one. Gas treatment plant and LPG recovery. This is, I'm signing a contract signing ceremony for a Hungarian company, MOL, and for a project in Gurguri, which is in KPK. Next one, please. Next, please. This is how it looked like when it was commissioned and handed over to the KPK. Next one, please. This was the chief minister at the time, Amir Khan Hoti, and this is me handing over the project in the project commissioning services ceremony at site. Next one, please. Then I moved on to greener pastures. People think that the Canada is the land of opportunity. I went there. In fact, I was working with a Canadian-Pakistani joint venture and for 9 years, and I was frequently traveling to Canada. But this was the time when I actually moved to Canada, and I was working in Calgary. I was going to the project site. My project site was something like only 4 to 6 months of working period, because the temperature used to go down as bad as -50 degrees centigrade. We were like Eskimos, what you see in National Geographic movies, probably working during that time, just maintaining the facility. But the rest of the time we were doing the project enhancement, upgradation during the summer, which was June, July, August, September, 4 months probably. Next one, please. This is the view in front of my office, Jacob's office, the top 3 companies of the world who are into all the fields of project management. 45% of the revenue comes from NASA. This is a project management company based in Canada with offices in US, California, Pasadena, California, and other places of the world. And I was fortunate to head one of their projects, which was $1 billion project program of 5 years. Next one, please. This is a view from my kitchen door. How beautiful it looks, but how dreadful it was to live in those conditions when the temperature was -40 degrees centigrade for weeks and weeks, and you have to go out to office, do the groceries, and send the children to school. My family couldn't settle down over there, and after a couple of months, they came back. and along with them, I also came back. And this is the time somewhere in 2014, I suppose. Next one, please. I came back to Middle East and started the same thing which I was doing in Canada, project management, setting up projects. Next one, please. Gas treatment plants and petrochemical and power plants. Next, please. This what I was doing while I was doing project management, I was doing something else. I just want to share it that human mind has the capacity which is unlimited. It can carry out 6 trillion processes in a minute. It is capable to do trillions of neurotransmitters processes and synapses, which conclude so many processes. Only we have to have the energy, the passion, the drive to do it. So I was doing so many things at all this time. When I was doing these mega projects, I was doing something which is called the social welfare and doing community work as well. Next one, please. Then I entered into the field of mind sciences and alternate ways of healing in 2003. Next one, please. This is who I am. I am the only certified master life coach, relationship coach, hypnotist, and NLP coach, Neurolinguistic Programming. Now, what is Neurolinguistic Programming? In 1974, University of California, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, they started working on a hypothesis why some people are born winners and why are some people born loser. Is it something to do with their mental capability, capacity, or the structured way to do things? And is there a secret key to success? They studied Noam Chomsky, Charles Bukowski. They studied Dr. Milton Erickson, one of the finest and the best psychologists and the master hypnotist of all times, and Virginia Steyer, a family therapist. And they came across a hidden treasure of information that people can be healed only through therapy, which is basically the talk therapy, by giving positive affirmation. When it came into the picture, the commercial, the corporate sector, especially the pharmaceutical industry, came hard down on them and tried to ban this knowledge. And for years, it was a forbidden knowledge, and they were treated as quacks, that it is not possible. How can you heal a person, treat a person who is going through depression, serious life challenges, and alcohol and other substance abuses by speech therapy, language, positive affirmations, and lifestyle changes. But anyway, it moved on and became a world most famous and most sought after knowledge, which is called the NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Next one, please. These slides will be available to you because I suppose this session is being recorded. So I will just quickly go through these next ones. Next one, please. Next, please. Next one, please. What I do, okay, just 1 minute, please. What I do, I help people bridge their dreams to reality, link their dreams to reality, dreams to goals. What is the difference between a dream and a goal is when you put a timeline to your dream, it becomes a goal. When you break it into activities, those become tasks. And then when you sum it up and you assign resources to it, it becomes a plan, a project plan. I have worked on mega projects and I have been using Primavera version 6. Most people use it, the most professionals use it for big projects and mega projects. But even if you are going to plan a wedding or even a kickoff ceremony or an event in your office, you need to have access to RACI Matrix, RASCI, which is available on the web. Please note it down. Please use it as a normal tool. It is very simple. You have to assign responsibilities, approval person, who is going to supervise, who is going to coordinate, and who is going to have the information. RACI Matrix, please note it down and use it even for small tasks like weddings or receptions or something. So these are the things I help people into and what I have been doing all along. Next one, please. The role models or the life influencers I have been following for the last 20 plus years, 25 years: Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Phil McGraw, Steve Harvey, Jack Welch. Next one, please. These are the psychologists, neuroscientists I have been following: Dr. Milton Erickson, I just mentioned, Dr. Louise Hay, a wonderful personality and a great contribution into the world of mind over matter and metaphysical ways of healing. If you want to heal your life, you must note down this name, Dr. Louise Hay, and you can go to the website and look for a book or a video which is called Heal Your Life. Heal Your Life is highly recommended book and a video. It will give you so many perspectives into how you should live your life. I also help people do the same. I tell people, I coach people, I facilitate them into their normal daily lives so that they become empowered and their lives are transformed. Dr. Rebecca Brackman, another big name in the neuroscientists. She has done a lot of research in neurosciences, especially on the use of antidepressants, why antidepressants don't heal, don't cure. And simply the reason is that when you start using antidepressants, you become dependent on them. It starts with a small harmless pill like Lexatinol 1 mg. Normally the doctors in Pakistan who are not supposed to prescribe it, because only the psychiatrists are supposed to prescribe relaxants and antidepressants, but in Pakistan nobody bothers, and there are very, very, I would say, gray lines, thin lines, and no lines between ethics, morality, and professionalism. Sorry, I'm open and candid on this issue because this is something very dear to my heart, and I have been doing this mental health awareness sessions for almost like so many years, more than a decade. And I launched life coaching in Pakistan in 2017 from Lahore. And I have been doing lectures, workshops, awareness sessions, and full day and 2-day things for the benefit of the people, and which is the mental well-being. We have a very bad record, a very, very depressing situation in Pakistan when it comes to mental health and well-being, which I'll share in a moment. So let's move on to the next slide. Next one, please. Next one, please. Next, please. These are the people I help. Normally, people think that the millionaires or the celebrities don't have problems, but believe me, they have a bigger problem than most of us, and most of their lives are between one problem to another problem, whether it's fame or lack of fame, or fortune, or the meltdown, emotional meltdown. I help people overcome these situations when there is a meltdown on a fashion walk, and I help fashion models to overcome those jitters or the emotional meltdowns. I help athletes and sportsmen to perform in a pressure situation. I wish I can help and coach Pakistan sports team, sportsmen, and especially our cricket team. Privately, I have had a few individuals who came to me, sought help, but as a team, I would love to help Pakistan cricket team because we have enormous talent. Technically, we are so talented, but when it comes to stress resilience, there is much more to be done and so much to be done. And that is where we lack the mental toughness. We lose sight of the victory by just overwhelming of the emotions and stress situations. But if you become stress resilient and you know how to keep your head cool and how to move around, believe me, it becomes a second habit and you are enjoying it rather than going through it. As there is a dialogue, tension लेने की चीज नहीं, tension देने की चीज है, right? So once you master it, you become master of it, and then you can help your team, your friends, colleagues, how to overcome these stress situations. Next one, please. Next one, please. Next one. I travel around the world. I coach people. I help people. I coach project management teams how to deliver a project, how to hand over a project. And if there are claim issues, there are post-project critiques or forensic audits of the projects, I also help them. So it comes naturally to me. If it can come naturally to me, it can come naturally to you to work on the two sides of your brain. One is the analytical, I do the project management. The other is the one which is more to do with psychology, mind sciences, and metaphysical ways of feeling. So human mind is capable of how much you stretch it. And the good thing is, if it is stretched, it cannot go back into the same box. Next one, please. I help people to overcome the fears and phobias. The biggest fear after death, the biggest phobia, second biggest phobia is glossophobia, which is the fear of public speaking. I help people overcome it. And not only the students or the college graduates, but the corporate world needs it because you have to make a presentation every now and then, and especially when you move higher up in the ladder, you are in the corporate hierarchy and you have to make presentations in the board meetings. You have to be precise, concise, and eloquent, having subject knowledge, but on top of all, the confidence to deliver it, the confidence to close it in a very professional manner so that you close the deal rather than you close the options, right? So I help them, I help people to overcome fear of heights, which is again a big fear. And once they overcome this fear, I take them to the zip line in Islamabad, which is between two mountains. You must have seen it. Not if you haven't, go to YouTube and see zip line Islamabad. And I take them. So it's less than 2 minutes a journey of your lifetime, a ride of your lifetime. And if you are living abroad, for example, I take you to Dubai or other places where we jump from the aeroplane and we do the skydiving. Again, a wonderful experience, a life-defining experience where you overcome your fears and you come down and you touch the ground and you say Alhamdulillah 100 times, but then you are healed before you even touch the ground. Okay, the next one. Yeah, this is one of the ways the people who have fear of heights, I take them to places where there are only ropes and wooden planks and they make squeaky noises and they move a lot and tremble a lot as your legs tremble. कांपे टांगे या टांगे कांपे whatever the situation, जिसकी टांगे कांपती हैं उसी को पता चलता है, बाकी तो हंस रहे होते हैं. But one has to go through all these things in life and you become stress resilient. Next one, please. Now, this is what it is and what I do. Next one. Now comes the sad part, the real part, and the depressing part. These are the stats, and these stats are from 2017 when they were presented. These facts were presented in Pakistan Medical Association Journal by their General Secretary and in a conference in Islamabad that 50 million people are suffering from mental illness in Pakistan. Since then, we haven't done any regular surveys and our information is not updated. But I can safely say it has increased by many fold since then because of many reasons. One, of lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, and depression being a taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So life coach is a safe bet. People go to a life coach, they discuss their relationship issues, their stress at workplace, and then they come to know that there is a linkage between all because we are working 24 hours. Our mind is working 24 hours, 365 days a year. And since we were born, even before that, 6 weeks old, since then our mind is working. There are memories stored, some with unhealthy emotions, some with negative emotions, and some with good emotions. And that we are what we are, and we are because of the fact what we have gone through. It is all because of the actions we have taken and the actions we have not taken. There is no simple life. There is not an ideal life. There is no one in this world who has or had a beautiful life unless it has a beautiful mind. In order to heal yourself, in order to heal your life, in order to change your life, change your thoughts. It's as simple as that. You cannot have a positive life while having negative thoughts. So these are the troubling facts we see, and we have come to a point where the depression in Pakistan is more than 1:3. Every third person is suffering from mental health issues, wellness issues, and it has increased after COVID. COVID, it started in Middle East and Europe. I saw it with my own eyes in Italy, in France, in Dubai, in Saudi, and other places. The effects of the echo chamber, the effects of the cabin fever, the effects of social isolation, and being in-house 24/7. Work from home was a blessing for some, but a big, I would say, a disaster because it increased physical violence, and lots of issues relating to breakups and divorces. The rates went up phenomenally high during that period because they had no one to talk to other than their own housemates and fellow beings. So they were having a serious issue. They were not able to go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, or a life coach. In Europe, in America, in most of the places, all the universities have a counselor sitting at the campus from morning till evening, and students can walk into the office and talk to them and share their experiences and their issues and challenges, and they help them overcome it. In Pakistan, it's still a taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to do anything about it. Even the federal government, the local government, they have not set aside a budget, a significant budget for mental health and well-being. The Insaf card, which was launched recently, it does not cover mental health. It came as a shock to me. I made my protest. I made it known to many, those in power, but it haven't happened up till now, and I don't know when people will realize that mental health and well-being is a major factor in the contribution of the country's productivity and economy and the bottom line of any corporate company. And then we have so many people who think that gupshup therapy can be a good thing and anyone can talk about depression and stress and anger management. Yes, anyone can talk about it who has watched a tutorial or a YouTube for 15 minutes. People who have read or bought a book of 750 rupees of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits can also talk for hours. But these things don't really take care of the deep-rooted issues and challenges. And we see that depression is an illness. ये कोई अमीरों के चोचले नहीं हैं. We come across all these comments. I come across all these comments now and then कि अगर सुबह उठ के और प्रे वो ठीक नहीं होगा. Because when you have a heart problem, when you have an eye problem, you have a kidney problem, you have a liver problem, regardless of the fact you pray 5 times a week or 5 times a day, you still go to a doctor, a specialized professional, a medical healthcare professional. Same is the case with mental illness. You have to go to a psychologist and a psychiatrist. Now, why should you go to a psychologist first and not psychiatrist? This is very important, and for all of you to note that psychologists are the people who will talk to you and they will talk through cognitive behavioral therapy. They have their own structured way of evaluation, their prognosis, and the recovery. They will do it through their lifestyle changes, suggestions, positive affirmations, and talk therapy, and some techniques. Whereas the psychiatrist, they will mostly depend upon the antidepressants, and in Pakistan, even the antibiotics are overprescribed. And time and again, I'm horrified to see people coming to me with their prescription and evaluation by their psychiatrist, where they are given way above the normal prescribed limit, the top limit for any antidepressant. It's not ethical, it's not professional, and it has long damaging effect on people's health, but this is what we come across. Next one, please. Why we fall ill, why we fall sick, because when there is a disconnect between the passion and the life, when we are asked to do things when we don't want to and we are forced to, we are asked to become doctors and engineers where we don't want to. For honestly, I never wanted to become what I had to go through as an engineer, as a project management professional, because my love of life was somewhere else, to help people, to work in a community setup, to volunteer myself. So that's why I took up psychology, I took up mind sciences, alternate ways of healing, and I went through all this. And I got the certifications for it, and I have been doing it all of my life from last probably 20, 25 years. I have been into this field. Next one. So what we see basically is the tip of the iceberg, and what people observe is the behavior, not the root cause. Root cause is much deep down, and which is, we have talked about repressed memories, and we come across all these issues and challenges when we observe our clients. We as life coaches are trained, and we have an edge over psychologists and psychiatrists because we work with so many tools. We have so many techniques in our toolbox. We work with life coaching techniques, we work with NLP techniques, we work with hypnotherapy. And most of these techniques are very fast, quick, and they give evidence and good results within a couple of sessions. For example, you do not have a medicine, even today, how to quit smoking, right? You don't have a medicine to improve somebody's image, self-esteem, or lack of confidence issues, challenges with own self-image. So if you don't have a medicine, what do you give? You put them through therapy, you put them through NLP sessions, you put them through hypnotherapy. That's what I do. We as life coaches are trained to scan people when we talk to them during our sessions, because sometimes people don't allow themselves to see what they want to see. They don't want to see, and they are in self-denial and self-sabotage. I will go into details when we have a full day session or a half day session in NIC in maybe probably May or June, where we'll go through much detailed and probably some exercises as well during that session. Next one, please. Okay, this is something you have to take this test and go through all these questions. I will go through, and you have to write down what are your answers, yes or no. Are you happy in your life? Yes or no. Are you bullied in your current life? Yet relationship, office environment? Yes or no. Do you tend to burn bridges in relationships after arguments? Yes or no. Have you ever broken up over a career choice? Yes or no. Do you suffer from insomnia, migraines? Yes or no. Do you feel guilty while relaxing? Yes or no. Do you become angry easily? Yes or no. Do you wake up feeling tired? Yes or no. If you have more than 5 yes on your sheet, in your answers there are more than 5 yes, you are stressed and your stress level is high. You need a life coach for that. And why you need a life coach? Because life coach will look into from all dimensions. He will or she will look into from relationship, your corporate, business, management, whatever those issues are which normal psychologist or psychiatrist cannot think of because they don't know what is a board meeting looks like, what are the deliverables for a kickoff meeting, what you have to do to manage a project, how do you monitor a project, how do you evaluate a claim of $1 million or maybe $10 million or $20 million. So to be honest, the first time I received $1.1 million invoice, I kept it in my drawer for a week. I used to take it out, read it, and then again put it back. And I didn't have the courage to evaluate and put my signatures on top of it because I had doubts about it. So when you have knowledge, you have the skill set, you have this resilience to overcome any challenge. If things go wrong, then you take decisions, and decisions make your destiny. Mark my words for it. Decisions define your destiny. You are always one decision away from destiny. You take that decision and that's it. You move into the bigger picture, bigger game, a bigger arena, and you are now out of that pond into a big sea. The fish is out of the pond into a big sea. You were a big fish in a small pond. Now you are a small fish in a big sea. So the world is like this. You move on, you come out of your comfort zone. There are bigger challenges. But once you overcome those challenges, there are bigger rewards. So the decision is yours. You want to become a millionaire or a multimillionaire. You are just one decision away. And I help you, I facilitate people, I help people to become what they dream of. I help them cross that bridge of uncertainty, and I help people to take that leap of faith which transforms their life into something which is worth living. Zindagi to guzar hi jayegi, ya has ke ya ro ke. It all depends what you want to do in your life. I think, Saran, this is all about it. Next one, please. These are the quick fixes when it comes to stress management. If you want to have a quick cheat sheet or a quick fix sheet, this is it. Copy this slide, keep it with yourself. This is what it is. You have to cut down on your coffee, tea, chocolates, and you have to switch over to green tea because it has a calming substance, theanine, and it helps you calm down. Green tea without sugar. You have to have 3 meals and never miss breakfast. Why I have put miss instead of skip, just to grab your attention. People get immediately attracted to miss, whether it is misinformation or a miss in real. Anyway, you have to eat good, healthy diet. You have to cut on, and there are some no-nos. Chocolates, energy drinks, you have to cut down and then stop altogether, especially the energy drinks. Don't take any of it. Those are very high on sugar and they have very bad side effects. It will affect your eyesight in the long run, and it will damage your brain. Brain damage is a serious issue, and very few people know about it, that the sugar damages your brain. White sugar is called the white poison, We are not aware of it, how it damages the brain. It damages the brain not as severely as the party drugs, the ice, the meth people, the youth are taking these days. Very, very, I would say, they are taking it in a very normal way, and in parties they take it as if this is the only thing in life which they are missing out on, and the life and the enjoyment, you can't do that without these drugs. They severely damage your brain. It causes brain damage permanently. The unfortunate part is in Pakistan we do not have psychiatrists who are doing the brain scan. How much brain damage has occurred, how much neurotransmitters and the chemical reactions are taking place, and how many neurons or synapses are being damaged or malfunctioning. We don't get an idea of it. We are high on drugs, we are high in euphoria, we are least bothered about the consequences, and there is nobody to guide us because we don't have that SPECT imagery machines in Pakistan, which normally in US and Canada are the prescribed ones to carry out the diagnosis for the brain damage and to see how much the brain is damaged and how much is the functional part of the brain. We don't have that. And unfortunately, the people in Pakistan, these are the ones who are the medical professionals. They are not looking at the organ, the very organ. They are advising people. They are taking care of people's health. Normally, you go to a cardiologist, he or she will put you through ECG, ETT, so many tests, blood tests and other tests before he or she prescribes some medicine. Psychiatrists don't have the access to these SPECT imagery thing, the scans, the brain scans, and they go by their knowledge, their information, their experience, what they have learned over the years, and they prescribe. In Europe and America, it's not like this. They go through the brain SPECT imagery, those scans, and they see whether there's the brain damage at birth, cognitive, later on, what it is to be done, congenital defects. So these things, or it is because of some brain damage, injury, road accident, or whatever, and then they prescribe accordingly. The Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's, these can be predicted if you have the brain scans in front of you and your doctor can see the trend, how it's happening, how it's damaging the brain, how much of the productive brain is left, and what is the ratio. But anyway, since I'm today talking about the well-being and mental health, and I always get some kind of good feedback and sometimes some negative feedback. I cross the boundaries for the medical professional in the sense I over criticize them, but I do it in a right way and in the right perspective, that if people are not doing justice to their profession, the certified medical health professionals are not doing it, who else would do it? Someone has to raise it. Someone has to make people aware of it. Just by writing on the side of a cigarette pack that smoking is injurious to health doesn't help. You have to inculcate good habits in your children, because children see what they see, they do what they do. What you do, they see, and then it's a behavior, a learned behavior. If you smoke in your house, you cannot expect your children to not be smoking later on in their life or to be non-smokers. So what you do, the children copy it, and you are passing on the same message to the next generation. So these are the quick fixes you have to do in order to fix your life. And if you want to fix your life yourself, it's good. If you want my help, I am available for you. There are contact details. Next one, please. These are the contact details. You can copy it. You can get the recording of this presentation. You can contact me on Facebook, on Instagram, Gohar Life Coach. You can text me, message me through Messenger, and we can get connected. And for these talks and into the project management side and the stress management and the business management, we'll be doing in NIC through the courtesy of Zohair Khalik Saab, inshallah, in the coming months, as per the schedule, which we will chalk out very soon, and you will get notified. Ji, thank you very much, Numair, and let's take a few questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was such an insightful session. I really enjoyed it. Let's look at some of these questions here. Okay. Sometimes we get stressed by not talking about the important tasks and projects that we're engaged with, and instead spending time on social media. Any tips for self-discipline?
Okay, a very good question and very, very relevant question. We stress out and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about the stress we are going through. Why do we get stressed out? We get stressed out if we talk in terms of business perspective, because we don't have the definition. It is not clearly defined the scope. We don't have the specifications. We don't have the budget, or we don't have the team to carry it through. So the team selection is very important. Even the best of the best captain can lose a project or even a government if you don't have a good team. The team is very important. Team selection is very important. Your success depends upon your team, no matter how talented you are, how good you are as a captain. Your team will make you a good leader and a good manager. You become a leader through your team. If you are a good manager, you can manage. There are 5 M's: money, material, machinery, method, and ways of doing things. These are the how you do it. You get stressed out. When you get stressed out, you need to talk to someone. But if you are talking to the wrong people, when I say wrong people, I mean the people who are your colleagues. They will not be able to help you. Why? Because they are part of the problem, not part of the solution. You need to take help from some professional, some subject matter expert. If it is a technical issue, if it is related to IT, it is related to trade, commerce, whatever industry you are in, you need to take help from a subject matter expert. If you talk to your mother, if you talk to your best friend, if you talk to your bestie, it will not help you. Yes, it will help you in a way that it will let out the steam, it will have a catharsis, it will go through, and you will be feeling much better after a coffee session with your friend. But if the problem persists, if it is a deep-rooted problem, if the root cause is not addressed, the problem will persist. And that's where the professional comes in. If it is related to stress, anger management, depression, business management issues, challenges in life, you need to go to a life coach. You need to go to a psychologist. And if it is and has been diagnosed as clinical depression, only then you have to go to a psychiatrist. If you or the person is a danger to him or herself, or a danger to his family or environment, then you should go directly to a psychiatrist. Otherwise, you should always follow through life coach or a psychologist first, and try it with full sincerity, with regularly. Once going to a session once in a month is not good. You should go on a weekly basis. for a couple of months, then you will see the results. But what you have been accumulating, what you have been gathering, what you have been storing in your mind, the data bank for years and years, the self-sabotage, the feeling of low self-esteem, whatever those issues are, I am not good enough, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकती, लोग क्या कहेंगे, things like that. So it needs not just one session, regular sessions. I prescribe 6 regular sessions with me, and alhamdulillah, most of my clients get healed within 5-6 sessions, or I thank them that I cannot help them further, because if somebody doesn't want to heal, want to live in a state of self-sabotage or a secondary gain, they are getting all the attention, they don't want to get healed, and they don't want to go on with their life, and they don't want to move on. It's their choice. I help people who want to help themselves, and I help them to overcome their challenges when they are ready.
Wonderful.
Yes, next
wonderful.
one, please.
So the next questions, there's 2 questions, I'm combining them into one. One is about how to adapt to stress in a later stage of your career, say you're at the age of 40, 50. And another is about how to tackle stress at an earlier stage in your career, how to become stress resilient and cope with the difficulties and challenges of being a mid-professional or a mid-career professional, or even a startup founder.
Okay, for the stress levels are different and the type of stress are different. Excuse me. The startups, they have a failure rate which is fairly high, and in first 3 years, most of the startups, which is like 70-75%, some go as high as 80 or 90%. Those startups end up in failures, or they go bankrupt, or they go and move on to another startup. The reason is they do not have the subject knowledge, and they take the project or a startup for vanity rather than sanity. For example, today if I go to a restaurant and I see it is flourishing, like I have so many friends working in this industry, and there is a particular friend, she is running, mashallah, alhamdulillah, a chain of Turkish restaurants in Lahore and extended to Gujranwala as well. She is a millionaire. She seeks help whenever she wants to on issues related to business or life, relationships or other, and we exchange views. Challenges are basically the same. If you do your planning, it then boils down to execution. If you know your project, what it is to be done, and you have the timelines, you have a project plan, then you do not have stress. Yes, you have timelines to manage. You have at times maybe late night sittings, you have maybe sleepless nights, yes, but you are not stressed out all the time. So the first thing and foremost is the clear definition of the scope of the project or the startup or what you want to do. It starts with the definition, it moves on to the, which is basically a feasibility, then the concept, then definition, then the specific project specifications, then the execution plan. If you have all these things worked out, there are very little chances or slim chances things will go wrong. You will be having surely challenging times, but not those big challenges in the beginning of the startup or in the even the middle life career challenges. If you have been managing your things well on daily basis, be it related but this is what it is. You have a structured approach to the problems, and then you will have solutions. Various solutions, whatever looks good to you, you apply it, and if it doesn't work, you go for another solution. You should be flexible to make decisions and change your approach. Right?
Wonderful.
People get stuck up most of the time that they have spent so much time and money on a particular decision that how can they go back? It is wiser to go back and change your approach and be flexible with your approach than to spend the rest of your life regretting it and spending more and more into the pit hole where nothing will come out of it. So even in the middle life or later life, like 50s and 60s, the fundamentals of business are the same. The fundamentals of project management, business management are the same. For example, you have to balance left side of the page to the right side of the page. The cost of your sale, all sum of all cost should be less than the money due from the client. This is no rocket science. The money, the receivable should be more and your cost spent should be less. So whatever that differential, that is the profit. And when you take into account the profit, also take into account the tax, profit after tax. And you should also keep a cushion for contingencies. So when you take into account all those things, and you work through a structured way rather than just listening and talking to people and not maintaining books, you run into problems from the very beginning. When you don't have a written down contract, you have a problem. Contract even for services, small, even janitorial services, office admin arrangements, lunch arrangements, everything, refreshments, even these small tiny things happen and matter a lot at the end because there is no written down or sign of contract, and then you run into problem, your interpretation and the interpretation of the service provider. So when you have a written down, structured, proper way, a plan, there are three important things. Always remember: passion, plan, perseverance. Passion alone will not take you to the goal post. Passion alone will not make your project a successful project, a successful startup. Passion has to be backed by a plan. Plan which gives you the details, to the minutest details, who will do what, money, material, machinery, method. So all these things have to be written down in a form, whether you do it on Primavera P6 or you use Microsoft, Excel or whatever. It has to be a written document signed off by all concerned, all parties. So everyone knows his or her responsibility, the timelines to deliver, and what are the stakes if things go wrong. There are sometimes financial, commercial challenges, which are basically loss in revenue, but there are at times repute as well involved. If you do something which damages the environment, your project is not successful, you will have a very bad image in the public, in the press. If you have done something wrong, then you will be liable to consequential damages as well by the local government or others. If you do not meet their criteria, then everything comes into play and local laws apply. So the basics, the fundamentals, it is passion, plan, and perseverance. The tenacity to go through when things are not going right. So these are the basic things you should always keep in mind. Next one, please.
3 Ps. Very nice. Passion, plan, perseverance. Very nice. Okay, so we're also having some questions here. When it comes to stress and relieving stress, some techniques that you could suggest, maybe how helpful is reciting surahs, positive thinking, what daily activities? I mean, you did mention waking up early, sleeping on time, eating healthy. These are all important things. Any other tips you could share for positive thinking and stress relief?
Yes. Okay. See, what happens is when you are stressed, you immediately go for coffee or tea. Then you go for another cup of coffee or another cup of tea, and then another. And then you go from 4 cups to 6 cups, and which is not recommended. You go for cigarettes, then your smoking increases. Your from 5 cigarettes a day to 20 cigarettes a day or something like this. And then this is a vicious cycle of you go to chocolates, you eat donuts, you go for these things, which gives you a sugar spike, and then there is a withdrawal. Then there is a spike, then there is a withdrawal. This is called the vicious cycle of stress. The best thing is to eat healthy and to have healthy habits. Do yoga or you do exercise, gym, because it helps into release of the endorphins. You need four happy hormones all the time. Everyone needs 4 happy hormones. Endorphin is the topmost, which comes with 30 minutes of exercise, whether it is cycling, biking, jogging, running, walking. Even laughter therapy. You watch a stupid movie or a comedy movie or something which doesn't make sense but makes you laugh a lot and you fell off the chair. 30 minutes plus of laughter therapy also helps in the same manner as exercise, and it releases endorphins. Second is the dopamine. When you do something and you get appreciated for it, your boss appreciates it, your colleagues appreciate it, and you get a recognition for the work you have done, it releases dopamine. It is the same when you buy something for yourself, a new mobile or a car or a handbag, not the one which is very infamous these days on all the social media, a $98,000 handbag, but a simple handbag can do wonders. But anyway, the third one is serotonin. Serotonin is the same which is used in the antidepressants, SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So these antidepressants have the same thing. It comes in the form of, if you want to do it organically without antidepressant, it comes and it releases the same kind of feeling. Your brain releases that when you help someone, when you offer services, when you do some charity, when you reach out to someone and they are truly grateful to you, you are happy and you get that feeling. It is the same as you get it from SSRI based antidepressants. Last one, but not the least, the oxytocin, which is the jadoo ki jappi. When you touch someone, when you hug someone, when you hold someone's hand, or you cling to someone for more than 30 seconds, the human brain releases the happy hormone, which is oxytocin, and it helps you calm yourself. It brings back the blood pressure and heartbeat to acceptable level, and you are calmer and much happier after when you have someone, a loved one closer to you, and he or she is hugging you and you have a physical contact with that person. That's why when you meet someone, an old buddy from college or university, and he or she hugs you tightly, and you say, "Yaar, thand pad gayi hai, ek dafa aur," right? So the most beautiful feeling in the world is when you hug someone and they hug you back even tighter. That is the most beautiful feeling in the world. So you need those 4 happy hormones every day. Now coming to the surahs, the most prescribed one, the one I have prescribed all these years, this is Surah Rahman. Surah Rahman therapy, I will post it in this group. I will give it to Saran or Nomer to you, and you can post it in this group. The proper way to do Surah Rahman therapy is to listen to the recitation of Qari Abdul Basit, only the recitation in his voice, because lots of audiometry tests have been done on his voice, because his voice is on 432 megahertz audible limit, and it carries out vibrational therapy, and the resonance it creates helps your vital organs to work on a prime functional level, and it releases the stress hormones, it releases anxiety, it helps in depression, it helps in evil eye and black magic as well. So it is highly recommended to use Surah Rahman therapy in a prescribed manner with the eyes closed and listening to recitation only thrice daily, and then taking water, and before taking water 3 times you also say Allah, and then you take that water. This therapy I'll share with you in a moment. I'll give it to Saran and he can post it in the group as well. So any other question before we move on to the next one? There are so many surahs which are prescribed for wellness, well-being, but this Surah Rahman has been prescribed, highly prescribed even by doctors. Dr. Muhammad Javed of Services Hospital, Lahore, has been doing it for the last 20 years. And in his ward, intensive care units, and other areas of the hospital, it is being regularly broadcasted thrice daily in the hospital on their public address system. So over here, I have heard in PIMS also, Islamabad, they are using it. So you can use it. I have used it personally. Remarkable results within 5-6 days. You feel the difference. You are having the recovery, seeing, observe yourself within days. Highly recommended.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So wonderful. Final 2 questions. If you could suggest a book that people could read, and the project management tool you mentioned, if you could help me spell it out for everyone.
Books, there are so many books. I can share a list with Saran in a moment, because if I share the titles only, some people are not familiar with, and they go and buy a book with a similar name. I will send the list, a few books, 4 or 5 books maximum, with the author's name. So you buy the same book, for example, Vincent Peale book, or Dr. Louise Hay book, or Tony Robbins. So these are the 3-4 gurus in this field, and they have written marvelous books. They have videos on YouTube, lots of material stuff available on YouTube. So I will be sharing those in a moment with Saran or Nomer with you. So we can share it with this group, and we can post it for people who can have access to it later on, can also get the benefit of it. One of the books which I would recommend for every entrepreneur is Unleash the Power Within by Tony Robbins. For the people who want to heal your life, it is Dr. Louise Hay, Heal Your Life. And then there are books by Norman Vincent Peale, Millionaire's Mindset. Then Dale Carnegie, How to Influence People and Talk to Anyone. Then there are books, How to Influence People, How to Read People's Mind. There are so many. We as life coaches are trained to read mind. We are trained to do good things in life. But there are people who can read mind and do the mind manipulation as well. Then there are ways how to influence people. There are good ways which are related to empowerment and healing of people. And then there are other ways which is Mehboob Aapke Kadmon Mein. So it all depends. Sword is a sword. You use it for your self-defense, and don't unleash it and don't take it out of your sheath, or you go on a killing spree. It all depends upon how you use the sword. If that sword comes with the samurai war code and ethics and protocols, then there's a code of conduct, code of ethic. So same goes for the life coaching techniques, hypnotherapy. People take all sorts of benefits of mind manipulation as well, but I go for healing people and changing lives and transforming lives, and I am happy with it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Gohar Sharif, Saab, thank you so much for giving us so much time today, so much insight and wisdom, so much to learn, and very excited personally to meet you today, and really looking forward to seeing you again soon. This was me, Numesh Zada, from the National Incubation Center here in Islamabad, and this was the end of our session. Thank you everyone who joined today. Till the next time. Khuda Hafiz, sir. Take care.
Thank you. It was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to talk to you and to talk to the future millionaires. And I have my best wishes for all of you and my guidance available as and when needed. As per mutual convenience, I will help you overcome your challenges and put you on the road to success and future millionaires. Once again, thank you very much. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you. Khuda Hafiz.